Hi, my name is Tamara Coleman, and in today's video, we'll be exploring how it all starts from meiosis to the monthly cycle to the first weeks after fertilization. We'll begin with meiosis, which is a special type of cell division. It only happens with our sex cells in eggs and sperm. A single cell copies its DNA, but instead of dividing once, it's going to divide twice, creating 4 unique cells, each with half the normal amount of chromosomes. This reduction process is key because when an egg and a sperm combine, resulting in a zygote, they want it to have the correct number of chromosomes in a human being, which would be 46. Unlike mitosis, meiosis combines genetic information and every cell is unique. Meanwhile, the ovaries and uterus follow a monthly rhythm called the menstrual cycle. At the start of the month, around day 1, this is when menstruation begins, and this is the shedding of the lining of the uterus. At the same time, hormones signal the ovaries to prepare the eggs. Several follicles begin to form, but usually only one becomes the dominant follicle containing the egg that it will be released. By around day 14, ovulation occurs. So what happens is that the egg bursts out of the follicle and it travels into the fallopian tube, preparing itself for fertilization. At the same time, the uterus is getting ready too. So it's going to start releasing hormones known as estrogen and progesterone, which are going to thicken the lining, preparing it for a possible pregnancy. If the egg isn't fertilized, the level of hormones drops and the lining that was made in the uterus is eventually shed. This would be the cause of a period, and then the cycle just keeps going on and on. On the other hand, if the egg is fertilized, then new life begins. And the name of a fertilized egg is going to be called a zygote. Within hours, the zygote begins to divide and it starts producing many cells. So it starts from 1 to 2 to from 4 to 8 as it travels down the uterus. By day 4, the zygote becomes a morula, which is a cluster of cells. By day 5 and 6, the morula becomes a blastocyte, which is a hollow ball of cells. So the outer layer will become the placenta and the inner layer is the baby. Around days 7 to 10, the blastocyte implants itself on the thick uterus lining, and that means that you're officially pregnant. By the end of the second week, the tiny cluster of cells starts organizing itself into 3 layers, and these 3 layers are the foundation that builds the baby's organs or tissues, anything that it's going to need. But sometimes things don't go as planned. So as we said, the blastocyte is the step in which it would attach itself to the uterine wall, and sometimes that isn't the case. The process of the blastocyte attaching itself to the uterine wall is called implantation. If implantation fails, then the blastocyte isn't able to receive blood from the mother. Without the proper nutrients or oxygen, the blastocyte just stops overall developing, leading to an early pregnancy loss. Sometimes the blastocyte doesn't implant itself where it is supposed to be, which is the uterus, and it decides to implant itself in the fallopian tube. So this is called ectopic pregnancy, and this is a serious medical condition that needs attention. And there is times where implantation does happen, but it is too weak or shallow. And this could lead to complications later on, mostly known as miscarriages. A successful implantation sets the stage for a successful pregnancy. That is why the first few days of fertilization are the most important.